"You're coming with me," said the lonely rancher, his voice slow but firm, standing in the doorway of a crumbling house where a woman sat on the floor, clutching her 3 little girls to her chest. Her face was bruised, her eyes swollen from tears, but even through the pain she still had the look of a mother who would endure anything for her children. The words hung in the air, half a promise, half a command, and they carried the weight of a man who had lived too long in silence, too long without someone to love, and who could no longer watch another human being break under cruelty. The woman's name was Amina. For years, she had been living under the shadow of her husband, a man who saw daughters as curses instead of blessings. The first time she gave birth to a baby girl, he frowned and walked out of the room. The second time, he didn't speak to her for weeks. The third time, his rage boiled over. He beat her until she could hardly stand, cursing her for not giving him a son, as though she had any choice in the matter. The neighbors turned their faces away, pretending not to hear the screams. In the small town where she lived, silence was safer than compassion. But not everyone looked away. The rancher, Samuel, had seen enough. He was a man marked by loneliness, living on a stretch of land too wide for one heart to carry. His wife had passed away years earlier, leaving him with only the wind, the soil, and the ache of an empty home. When he heard Amina's cries and saw the bruises darkening her skin, something inside him shifted. He knew what it was to feel abandoned by the world, and he couldn't let her raise those 3 girls in a place that only promised more violence and despair. So that night, while the girls lay huddled against their mother, Samuel knocked on the door. When Amina's husband stormed out, ready to strike again, Samuel stepped forward. His eyes, weathered from sun and sorrow, didn't waver. "You're coming with me," he told her, his tone steady and unyielding. It wasn't just an affront, it was a lifeline. Fear trembled in Amina's chest. She had nowhere else to go, and leaving meant risking her husband's wrath. But when she looked at her daughters, the 3 pairs of innocent eyes looking up at her, she realized staying would only teach them that cruelty was normal, that love was something you had to beg for. So, with trembling hands, she gathered them and followed Samuel into the night. Life on the ranch was not easy. The land was harsh, the days long, and Samuel had his own wounds buried deep beneath his silence. But for the first time in years, his house was filled with laughter, even if it was small, uncertain laughter from 3 little girls running across the fields. Amina worked beside him, tending to the animals, cooking meals, learning how to mend fences and guide horses. She carried her pain like a shadow, but in Samuel's quiet kindness, she found strength. He never raised his voice, never raised his hand. Instead, he taught by patience and example, showing the girls how to feed the lambs, how to plant seeds, how to see beauty in the simple rhythm of each day. But challenges didn't disappear. Amina's husband wasn't a man to let go easily. He came to the ranch one evening, drunk and furious, demanding his wife and children return. Samuel stood tall, his hands at his sides but his voice like steel. "They're not yours to hurt anymore." The confrontation was tense, dangerous, but it ended with Samuel's quiet certainty overpowering the other man's rage. The law eventually intervened, and though the husband tried to fight, his grip on Amina's life was finally broken. Through it all, Amina began to heal. She learned that love wasn't measured by control or fear, but by safety and respect. Samuel, too, found something he had thought was lost forever: family. The girls began calling him Papa in their soft voices, filling a hole in his heart that had been aching for years. By the end of their journey, the ranch was no longer a lonely place. It was a home where broken souls had come together and found belonging. Amina, once beaten for the daughters she bore, now saw them thriving in a place where they were cherished. And Samuel, once only a lonely rancher, discovered that sometimes the family we're given isn't as important as the family we choose. And so, when people in town whispered about the woman who had been saved by a man's courage, Samuel would simply smile and shake his head. He hadn't saved her, she had saved him too. Together, they had rewritten the meaning of love, resilience, and second chances. The story leaves us with one truth: no matter how deep the wounds, healing is possible when compassion meets courage.